This is my Adafruit Mini Rover build part 4. I'm going to finish putting the power circuitry together, and then in the next video I'll actually start programming. So I guess we should start by hooking up the motor connections to the motor controller. Now this is just for use for tie wrapping cables to various things. They usually come with a double-sided tape, or there's a hole in the center for a screw. I'm reusing this one. It had been used before. Took the bad two-sided tape off of it and just used one of my mounting bolts for this. This will allow me to tie wrap down the Adafruit Boost converter, which I'm going to use to power the Raspberry Pi. Big fingers out of the way. I won't make it too tight, just snug enough to give it some stability. I'll position this around here. Now I won't actually plug it in just yet until I'm ready to truly power this up. Cut the excess off. Now, what I'm going to do with this switch, I've tested with a voltmeter and found out which is open and closed. So then I marked it here, so when I flip the switch up, that would turn on the Raspberry Pi. Now again, I'm going to use another tie wrap. Originally I was going to try and do this with Velcro, but found that the mounting holes here that or slots in this case that I'm using, are not quite big enough for what I'm trying to do, so I'll use tie wraps. I buy them in a bulk container at a local hardware store, so not like there's too many of them. See if I can snug this up a little bit. Okay, and there's one switch over there. And I'll route the USB cable to the Raspberry Pi after I finish mounting this other piece. So this is the back, or U-back as it's called. Basically it takes the 11 point some volts from the nickel metal hydride batteries and drops it down to 5 volts, which I'm using to power the two motors. And again, same sort of thing, as I decided to take and put a switch in here. Let's try routing this around a little bit. And same thing as I've marked this such that so when I flip the switch up, unfortunately it's not a nice blue color like the other one, so I can tuck these wires out of the way. Try and keep things somewhat organized. Check that, plus and minus. Get my power on there correctly. So that'll turn on the motor controller, and when I plug that in, this would turn on the Raspberry Pi. Of course, I have to get this cable plugged in. One of these nice little wire ties that come on most cables you get. There, that's nicely, somewhat tied up. And put the wireless dongle back on. And now it's ready for my programming. So my next video I will do my first test of OBS with multi-screen and have one view of the robot here, another view of my SSH connection into the Raspberry Pi, where I'll load the module for the motor controller and start doing some simple Python code to turn the wheels, and then I will start working on some fancier code so that I can send, well, eventually I'd like to send commands from a joystick on a PC or another Raspberry Pi to this for driving it, or use a Wiimote. We'll see how exotic I get, but next video I'll just start with simple motor control commands, and we'll see where we go from there. Thank you very much for watching.